Hello, this is Bobby Gryziec once again, this time with episode recommendations for Doctor Who. In this particular part, I will be highlighting the first, second, and third Doctors, William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, and John Pertwee. The best place to start, in my opinion, is with the very first episode of all time, An Unearthly Child, starring William Hartnell, and it also introduces the character of Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter. Additionally, you see two other key companions of the early days, Barbara and Ian, and you get your first glimpse into the TARDIS, the Doctor's time machine. Those first shots are spellbinding. It's amazing how well done they were given the budget available, and it's really worth your time to watch. Now, the episode itself is a 4-part episode where they travel back into caveman days. It's really quite good for its time and for a first episode. I would follow that by watching Doctor Who and the Daleks. Now, the Daleks are a recurring enemy of the Doctor. However, they did not start out to be that way. They just kind of wound up coming back. Every now and then, sometimes more frequently than not as an enemy, but they are quite menacing, and despite their primitive beginnings, even in the early episode, they are really amazingly frightening. Now, the Daleks episode is quite extensively long. It has some very good moments, but it can drag in parts, so I'm told. And it never really bothered me to watch it, but if you're not a patient person, you may not want to sit down and watch that early on. Those two episodes I just mentioned, An Unearthly Child and the Daleks, can be found in the Beginnings box set, if you're wondering. And it's definitely worth checking out. The Aztecs is another phenomenal Hartnell story. It's a historical piece of sorts, and it is really it shows how a primitive culture can view something more advanced or something different as being evil or confusing or what have you. So check that out, the Aztecs. It's definitely worth watching. Some of the sets are just amazing in that as well. So there you have that. Dalek Invasion of Earth is the second episode to feature the Daleks, and we see the departure of one of the companions in that episode. It's a phenomenal episode. Dalek Invasion of Earth shows some very interesting shots of a post-apocalyptic England, and Um, it's amazing. The storyline is phenomenal, and the storyline is referenced actually in the new series in season 4. So it's definitely an episode to watch. And that one's very fast paced. It doesn't stop from beginning to end. It really moves along nicely, as does the Aztecs. Um, Another Hartnell episode to check out is The Keys of Marinus. Another really excellent episode. Moving on to Patrick Troughton, I would start out by watching Tomb of the Cybermen. Now, the Cybermen are another recurring villain that we see throughout Doctor Who history, and this particular episode, we see the Doctor, one of his companions, Jamie, and another early companion of his, Victoria. The acting is excellent, which is very well done. The plot line is superb, and the sets are really amazing. So check that one out. Um, Moving past that, The Seeds of Death is another excellent Troughton episode. A bit longer than Tomb of the Cybermen. Tomb of the Cybermen is a 4-part episode, whereas The Seeds of Death is a 6-part, I believe, but really worth watching. It also shows another villain of the Doctor, known as the Ice Warriors. It's really a excellent plot, excellent cinematography. It does have its moments where it looks a bit cheap, but given the time allotted to make the episode, you have to factor all that in when watching some of these early episodes. It is still quite good, though. I would follow that by Troughton's last episode. If you're really ambitious, watch the War Games. It is a 10-part episode, but I assure you, you will not be sorry. And it leads up to the Doctor being forced to regenerate at the end, given his interference into the history of the Earth and other planets as well. So definitely check that out if you have the patience to do so. It is very fast paced, very quick moving for an early episode, but it is 10 parts, so it can be taxing if you're not a patient person.